Oh, I have a voice. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow, lovely to be here this morning. A little later than usual, but I think with weekends I'm just going to have it starting at the 8:30, not before. Um, I only wake up at 8 o'clock, so yes, there you go. It was going to be a bit of a stretch to get started then. It was a lovely sleep in. Thank you for being here, especially those even watching replay. We're here for the cards, and today I've chosen to use the Kipper cards, Kipper deck. It happened to be out on my table for something else I was doing, so hence, being a Saturday, we do use other than just the Gilded Reverie Lenormand deck, and there is the choice. It was made for me by being on the table. Let's go and have a look at the spread, because there is 4 cards with this one. Did I mention I'm rosboundy psychic medium, just in case? And I still haven't put this. Look, let me put the psychic dot online. That's the website if you're needing to actually have a more detailed and in-depth reading for yourself. I'm hoping that that is going to come up. Interesting. That's the connection that's on YouTube. It should be in the link there, and this is the Facebook one. So you'll see that with that little avatar. Okay, so that's that part of it out of the way. Not that it has to be out of the way, because absolutely everything is as and when it is meant to be and inclusive. Okay, all things are. And here we have it. All things are. We've got the Kipper deck. That's the card deck covers, the box it comes in, and you will see it is by Ciro Marchetti as the artist, this particular deck, and I love his artwork, so that's where I'm going to go with most of them. And this is the guidebook that goes with us. I'm still using the same spread initially. It is the home space, the theme for the day, and the workspace. But this particular card came flying out on the end of when I was putting them onto the table, as in creating the spread. So it was demanding to be read as well. So, and same thing, it was needing to go under the theme. So I had this happen the other day as well. So I'm just going to, it's going to be hard to balance my Apple Pencil in there. I'll point to the poverty card first, because that's where I will go to start the reading. Now, zoom in on just those 3 for starters. There we go. And good morning, Fiona. Good morning, Ros Girlie, and all around the globe. A good afternoon or a good evening. And beautiful emojis. Thank you for that, Fiona. You know how I love you sharing these. So thank you very much. Now, as we start, you can see quite clearly some of the detail that are in these 3 cards here. So it is card 3, card 37, card 35, and card 16. Now, the Kipper does not have any corresponding relationship with regular playing cards like the Lenormand do. Not that I've found out anyway. So we're going to start with card 37 being poverty as our theme, which I thought, whoa, that's really interesting. Having poverty is the main thing. And when thoughts came to be wanting to join in, I thought, well, that's going to temper it quite a lot. It will be, it had, rather than being the absolute of poverty, we have the thoughts, the thinking of. So it shifts that perspective a little bit. But I'll read what is from the guidebook for this, purely because I'm not completely familiar with the Kipper. We are becoming more so as we move along with using these. So it is a challenging card. Here we meet a young chimney sweep in ragged, dirty clothes atop a dangerous roof with his mop and broom. In 19th century Britain and Switzerland, abandoned or orphaned boys were purchased for the perilous labour of climbing up inside chimneys to clean out the flammable creosote, sometimes while they were actually on fire. It was essentially a short life of miserable child slavery, a far cry from the sheltered life of the privileged lady. So literally it stands for grinding monetary circumstances, poverty, or a large monetary loss. Okay, so abstractly, it represents lack of control, a bad position, scarcity, both physical and emotional, as well as being down on your luck. So look for nearby positive cards, and that's in reference to a grand tableau, but we do have some nearby cards here. Okay, it is about, yes, so that's what this has as its meaning. It is the poverty. And for me, it feels more so, oh, that's an interesting image just there. You can just sort of see a ghost of a face. It's almost like a ghost. It seems a bit weird. Maybe that's some of the dirt and soot, or is it the end of his broom? No, because they're over there. He's holding the handles there. In his lamp that he's got to go down. There's oh no, there's a broom. All right, no, there's not a lamp there. That's some other light that's glowing in behind there. Like we've got the light from the from back there that's shining down. Looks like a very smoky, cloudy type of a sky with the sun shining through and reflecting through from that rooftop at the back. It does look glum, doesn't it? And a cat. Yes, it is a cat. I'm still not sure about that. It looks like a skull. It really does look like a skull to me. But anyway, so that's what we have as our interpretation from the guidebook. I was trying to think of the word for it because I'm just seeing that Caro, good morning, Roz, you've popped in as well. Good morning, good morning. Lovely to see you here. And Fiona also has the numbers up already. So that's a 4 for the day number. And we have a 1 with the cards total together there. So thank you, Fiona. I'm intrigued with this, and hang on, Sat, can you turn up your volume? I've just turned it up maximum. Sorry about the volume. Oops, and I've just bumped. I'll just position it a bit better. Thank you for that warning, Zach. Just seeing that. I'm just popping into the settings and just to make sure that it hasn't reset with one of the hard boots. I have noticed it does tend to do that, and I keep forgetting to check it. Let me see, where is the sound on this thing? There. And input, alert, that's speakers. The input is, yeah, not very loud. So let's hope that's going to improve it. It was halfway, it had reset. So let's hope that's improved it for you there. Sorry about that. I hadn't checked it first because I just jump on. Because usually I rely on my system to be ready to go. So all good, hopefully. Now, if you can just let me know, that'd be wonderful. Okay, so I'm thinking and feeling that with this poverty, that in the situations that we're in at the moment, as far as global economy and all the other pressures that are being created, and it is a created economy, the pressures that are happening because of political decisions and choices by governments and other aspects of weather, which is out of our control, all of those types of things that really make it, really do have us feeling quite lost in how to keep ahead financially with so many things. That, we have become very concerned with our ability to keep moving forward with our financial situations. That the costs of living are going up continually, that pressure, and not the wages in many countries and spaces. And it is becoming harder to keep that flow of energy in a positive light because of that. Every time you go to the store, it seems to be even more expensive. I feel it, all the different rates for your properties, rentals, all sorts of aspects of life are bringing that sense of we are in poverty more often. When what I'm feeling with this thoughts card below it, and I'm going to read that, in connection with what is the poverty. Okay, so next card we're going to is card 16, thoughts. When you go to, excuse me, and can hear fine, Ros Gurley, is what Fiona's saying. Good, thank you. So at least I know I've done what I can for the maximum of the volume I can create, besides yelling at the microphone, which I'm not going to do. Now, this thoughts card, keep in mind it's under poverty, it's connecting with poverty. But this card represents the thoughts of the man the questioner is interested in, which is an interesting way of looking at it. Good morning. Hello, Michaela. Lovely to have you here. And lovely and all. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Michaela. And the thoughts card does represent the thoughts of a man the questioner is interested in. So it does feel to be more of that masculine type of energy. And the thoughts are positive. So the ones that they're using as the comparison that they're not are not present here. So we can still feel the positive aspects of this card in its fullness. So this card is perhaps the Kipper's great gift. At last, a card directly addressing thoughts and matters of the mind. So this card is generally positive. Here we meet the artist in his studio, adrift in his vision and struggling to realise his perfect portrait of a lady. While traditionally called his thoughts, it may also represent the sitter's own concerns, preoccupations, and obsessions. I consider that would be yourself. Okay, so read the cards around it to learn all the thoughts. We're using this one in relation to the poverty card. That's being very much more specific. So you'll generally be revealing things. Thoughts may reveal things you didn't want to know. More abstractly, it can also describe a thoughtful person when next to you. So it could be that thoughtful person if you, see, some of this reference is for the Grand Tableau. So, about a person, or it could just indicate the need for contemplation and meditation. Okay, so what we have with having these two together like this, and I'm going to just place them a little bit more so we can see the both. So as you're looking at what is the poverty and some of the thoughts that we may be having around our ability or inability to finance our lifestyle as we wish, so to speak, there is always going to be thoughts about how we can possibly make more money, bring more income into the home, or to be able to cut some of those costs and that type of thing. Using different resources, not that is already and always been the way. Okay, so here with the poverty card, it's as far as being a chimney sweep, it would have always been the young, small boys that were put through the chimneys to do that work. It would not have been the girls. They would have been the scullery maids and those types of things in that era. Yes, they did use child labour, and some places in the world it is still something that is done, is child labour. What we're looking at though is our own thoughts around what are the possibilities. How are we seeing this? What way are we looking at what our life situation is in relation to? And in this particular instance, I think our theme today is that of our quality of lifestyle and how we are using what we have, being grateful for what we have, putting that thought into gratitude that in a country that we are living in here in Australia as a free country, well, mostly free, as you see a lot of different laws and regulations being instigated, etc. Certainly some that I think are absolutely ridiculous, my personal thoughts. And you may have your personal thoughts about that. I really think that in a country that is free as we have, we are needing to be pointed to those thoughts that are important for us to be able to then put that into action, because thoughts are just that. They are just how we think. They are not something that we all the time put into action. And in many instances, we have that niggling instinct, that intuition that maybe this particular line of thought needs to be pushed further and acted on. Okay, so we're going to see that is, um, standing up for what is the right way of doing things, and increasing our abilities to be able to shift our finances in a way that is not just related to our wages if you are working for someone else, or the line of business we may be working in if it is a business that you own, or solopreneur or entrepreneur, or whatever way you want to see it as the money earner. This is the theme for the day, though. So it's that thoughtfulness around how we are thinking. Are we thinking in a poverty mindedness, or are we bringing ourselves out of that to see what there is around about us that can be done for others as well? It isn't always about just us. It's the cycle and the bigger picture of what is happening that is what we might be needing to think about. And sometimes that can be relative to what the politics in your country is, the governmental system, etc., that creates the wealth of a country or brings it down. All of that is what I'm feeling in the thought in our theme for the day today. Okay, so very much something to think about, and that card definitely needed to be included in what we are reading today, the thoughts with the poverty. Now we are going to go to the marriage card in, can't get that up any further, the marriage card in the home space, because that's where this is. I had that up a bit far. Okay, now it might look a little bit faded in the light that I've got outside, because it is dull, overcast and rainy, very rainy. It's going to happen. Now, here we go with card 3. So the first 2 cards in this deck are the main male, the main female, and then the partnership of marriage. It's the sequence of how the Kipper deck is oriented. So rather appropriate. It's a partnership and a joining together. So what's great about the Kipper is that we don't have to wait for the happy ending. This is a positive card, and it depicts an idyllic wedding in a fairy tale country church. It stands not only for a literal wedding when combined with some other cards, but any kind of close contractual relationship, such as a business partnership or a joint venture. So it can also stand for an intimate friendship. More abstractly, it can represent any joining of forces. Okay, so it's got so much versatility in the relationship that we're looking at here with this card called the marriage, labelled the marriage. So in the home space, it is that you may already be married, have family, and you are creating and building your family in your home space. Even if you're single, as we heard through this explanation, that it can be any other type of joining in a venture of some sort. So bring forward those wonderful happy thoughts, if it's that you're already married, and the rest, the memories of your wedding day and all of that is happy and joyful, and what were the expectations at that point in time toward moving forward to where you are now. Bring forward the memories and joyfulness of what was. And I'm feeling that sense of, we do sometimes forget what the origin of our partnership has been. We are creating a renewed energy around that type of partnership, and whether this is the home space of anyone that you have within your realm of home. And that can include some friendships, and whether, moving forward with those with a renewed joyfulness, happiness, gratitude, and really that sense of a happy ever after continuing. If you can understand where you came from to what your expectations were, look at it in a more abstract sense of, wow, all this has occurred and still happy and in that space where you want to be, continuing to grow it with that potential that began into what can continue. Okay, so we're using this energy today to perk up and bring that joy, happiness. Weddings are a wonderful, marriage is a wonderful way of it is exploring another person in their beingness, and it is that more intimate level of that beingness. So, if you've got a special friend that you are still connecting with after many years, connect with them again, like an old school friend, that type of thing. We're being given that thoughtfulness for that today because we have thoughts as part of that theme, and bringing in being mindful, and maybe spending some time in a bit of meditation of that past being brought to the now in our home space, our intimate relationships, that is the more self-understanding arena. Okay. So I think we've got a lot to think about today, especially, and this is just such a happy space. I feel it is anyway. I'm feeling that sense of a pick me up through that card today. And now, as we can look at our pathway with the work card, that workspace. How exciting! Now, I did pop up Fiona's numerology there. Yes, I did. So Fiona's put it on both the pages of the profile as well as the page, the Facebook page. So thank you very much, Fiona. Now, with the pathway at card 35, we get the sense, because it's at the other end of the spectrum of the cards that Kipper has as available for a reading, because there's 39 cards in the deck of a Kipper deck. We're working towards that journey that is going to take us even deeper towards that is possibly a completion of this particular cycle of what's happening in your workspace, in your business or your workspace. A beautiful pathway that's leading into the forest, but it's toward that open space that brings a sense of wonder. Okay, they are butterflies if you can't quite see them well enough, because the camera is a bit along that way. I'm not going to spend money on a new one. It still works, just doesn't have quite the crisp focus that it used to. It's getting old like me. I need glasses. Maybe I should put a pair of glasses on the webcam. Anyway, the pathway is, you arrive at a long, rocky forest path. It winds uphill, but the trees seem cool and inviting. The destination can't quite be seen, but it looks like there's a pleasant patch of sun after the climb. Literally, it's all paths, roadways, walkways, tracks, and trails. So from this, it derives a sense of long races like marathons or triathlons. It's a long road, so it represents distance and a good length of time. Leads to a timing hint of 1 or 2 years, because Kipper do give those senses of timing. There is a light at the end of the tunnel now. Pathway may announce the overcoming of distance both temporally and spatially. So if you don't try to force the matter, your experience continues development. Hang on, I read that one wrong. If you don't try to force the matter, you'll experience continuous development. This card may concern the slow growth of a partnership or long-term career planning. So pathway is also a symbol of all the roads. Now that is, a summary. We are on the right path. I'm getting that sense of being on the right path for the long term. And because it mentions that partnership of business there, here we have the marriage. There might be that sense of, at the moment, a sense of feeling like it's, you're not doing enough to make the money. But this is only just the thinking of it. It's not the practicality when you can put into place or have put into place that is good, sturdy, strong mapping pathway towards what is that longer term goal. And it is bringing that sense of direction and the sense of having that goal. It is the right path. Continue on it. It does take the long slog sometimes to get there, and to sometimes leave things alone because you have made the right choices. It is just taking each step at a time to work towards that is going to come as well, the adventure, further adventure in what you're doing with work and income creation, or abundance, because abundance isn't always as money. It can be other things that come along the way, which can include friendships and further partnerships of some form or another that will continue to show different ways and methods of, increasing that is going to be a broader sense of abundance rather than just money. I do think that the money is only, it is an energy that keeps us creating, so that we have that better um, quality of how we are living our life. But it's not just that is financial. It's the journey along the way of those friendships and the relationships that we can build, and the interactions with helping each other out, and bringing all of those thoughts together for today. And I'm just going to zoom that down so we've got all of the cards in view. So it's bringing all of these thoughts together today on what you focus on as, is it the poverty, is it the relationships and the journey that we are making in this lifetime, and how we are doing it and the quality of that. So that's what I'm feeling with these cards in particular today. It does create a nice, it does create a nice story there, because we've got that gorgeous marriage from our home space, that we are connecting with others through the work that we do and through the thoughts that we create into being our reality. We need to shift our thoughts to be those positive perspectives that are going to bring more of the joy and happiness and gratitude for who we have around us, and who further coming into our life is going to bring more of that to us. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you have a wonderful Saturday today in whatever you do, and keep being the best you that you can be. And I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.